Want some fireworks type weather. I want to go to the 4th of July, like fast forward through this temperature, huh?
Well, we got some time to waste
We
here.
do.
We got a little time to think about it. It's 35 degrees. It's just, so, Tevin, you're saying that's what's leading to the snow coming our way.
Yeah, it's almost 7 a.m. Tuesday. It's 35 degrees. It's partly cloudy skies, and we're also tracking snow squalls as well right now across portions of now New Hampshire. So if you're watching the past 15 minutes ago when we had the snow squall warning through central Vermont, that's been allowed to drop out and expire according to the National Weather Service. The only really game in town now is the snow squall warning that goes until the top of the hour here through Somerset and Grafton counties across New Hampshire. But again, that's a testament to some of the drier air that's there, which is I've been saying all morning long. I don't think we're likely to see substantial snowfall from this. So how are we going to get 1 to 3 inches of snow? Well, there's another round that comes through, and that's tonight and tomorrow. I don't think it's squally nor as intense in nature, but it is more widespread snow that we're likely to see. And it's also getting cold quick. On Thursday, it does not feel like the 4th of July. It feels more like the 4th of January as temperatures will be in the teens and single digits for wind chills. The weekend will also start out on a wet but warm note. So let's track the next round of snow. Remember, that's tonight and more widespread now through Laconia and Nashua, Worcester alike, and across the Mass Pike, where we could actually have a pretty steep gradient. Areas down towards the south through central portions of the south coast and even New Bedford, not likely to get much, but once you work your way along the Mass Pike, 90 and north along Route 2, that's where some of the greatest totals are expected. But again, some 1 to 3 inches at best. It's also across Vermont, too, just because we've had 1 and 2 days of snow with that terrain-induced sort of aspect or element there that we get some 3 to 5 inches of snowfall. Most of this should be gone by the day's end tomorrow, other than scattered showers. We've already hit our high temperature for the day today. 36 is the high in Boston today. Now we're at 35. So that cold front that brought the snow showers also bringing us cooler air in the coming days. Tonight, we're down into about the upper 20s. Tomorrow, for a high, we are back in the upper 30s and low 40s. That is short-lived. Thursday, it's a roller coaster, folks. We're down into the teens and single digits for morning lows, afternoon highs just shy of freezing. Friday, we're at 45 with more rain showers approaching. The reason for the ups and downs, where there's a large undulation or sort of difference in the jet stream. A lot of the air coming from the south, that's warmer, and then air beaming in from the north. It's colder. Where Friday, we're back warmer because of this system that we see swinging in out of the Gulf of Mexico and from the south. So there's a sharp divide on rain to the south for Friday night and snow northbound across northern New England. Should be great for some of the ski areas. Not good news if you've got weekend plans on Sunday night, rather, because another disturbance that comes in. But it does seem like there's a little bit of drier air that that should keep most of us protected. So we do have a mix of rain and snow possible on Groundhog Day, specifically the evening and overnight hours, though I don't think it's anything widespread. Widespread warmth on the way for next Monday, 40s for high temperatures.
Wow. All right. That's quite the 10-day, jam-packed. Now to the top stories you need to know before you head out the door.
Mayor Wu is called to Washington, D.C. to answer questions about Boston's sanctuary city status.
But first, we got to dig into some traffic troubles in East Boston could cause chaos for morning commuters. NBC 10's Manoj Pongwari live in East Boston with more on this topic. Good morning, Manoj.
That's right. I'm live here in East Boston, really alongside Route 1A that is still experiencing some closures because of a bus crash that happened more than 24 hours ago. Take a look at Route 1A northbound. You can see traffic is moving smoothly. However, Route 1A southbound is still closed. That's because that bus crashed into 5 utility poles and 4 transformers. Now, the problem is this is a feeder that takes people from the North Shore to the airport and to the 2 tunnels. Now, this time it's uncertain exactly what led to that bus crash, but in addition to causing traffic headaches, Eversource says well over 1,000 customers in this area lost power immediately. They were able to restore it within hours, but the bus that was carrying passengers was carrying them to the airport, and a couple people were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. This morning, police are asking anyone whose morning commute runs you by this area to seek an alternate route. We'll continue to stay on scene here and get more information. And the second we do, we'll be sure to keep you guys updated. But for right now, we're live here in East Boston. Manoj Pongwari, NBC 10 Boston.
I'm Alicia Palumbo, live in Boston, where Mayor Michelle Wu has been called to testify in a congressional hearing. This is regarding the city's sanctuary city status. Now, as federal agents continue to be seen in raids like this one in East Boston last week, Mayor Wu, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, and Denver Mayor Mike Johnston have all been sent a letter inviting them to testify before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee next month. The letter calls out these cities for their, quote, abject failure to comply with federal law. Sanctuary cities limit how much their employees can work with federal immigration authorities to deport undocumented immigrants. The committee also requested documents and city communications involved in the policy. A city spokesperson said in a statement, "We are proud that Boston is the safest major city in the United States. We have received the letter and are reviewing it." That congressional hearing is set for February 11th at 10 a.m. We're live outside of City Hall in Boston. Alicia Palumbo, NBC 10 Boston.
Well, a pair of legislators in Massachusetts are looking to change the way ICE handles its operations and arrests. Now, they are pushing for them to happen at prisons or courts instead of neighborhoods. Now, a state representative from Worcester has filed a change of state to Supreme Court decision from 2017. This would essentially allow law enforcement to hold people in the country illegally for up to 36 hours for ICE to pick them up. But some advocates argue that local law enforcement already works with ICE. So far, we have not heard from the governor or the state attorney general on if they support the newly filed bill. Also new overnight, President Trump issues more executive orders.
And the first order impacts potentially billions of dollars in funding. In a memo obtained by the New York Times, the White House Budget Office has ordered a pause in grants, loans, and other federal financial assistance that could include disaster relief aid, education, transportation funding, or small business loans. And while the memo says the funding pause does not include individual payments, it does not clarify whether that includes money sent first to states, then distributed to households. In a second order, President Trump is reshaping the U.S. military. He directed his Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, to revise the Pentagon's policy on transgender troops, likely setting in motion a future ban on their military service. He also wants to gut the military's DEI programs and reinstate service members who were discharged for refusing to get the COVID vaccine. Did you feel it, everybody? An earthquake rattled parts of New England. The 3.8 magnitude quake struck off the coast of New Hampshire and Maine, New York, and harbor areas as well. And even though the epicenter was closer to York, Maine, the quake was strong enough to be felt here in Massachusetts.
I was telling you, I felt it here in, yeah, exactly, here in Needham. Take a look at this home security video from Hull. You can see that camera shaking. Look, things started rumbling around 10:22 yesterday morning. You heard it all over social media. Did you feel it? Did you feel it? Some people we spoke to say the earthquake felt like a jet taking off under their feet. And now a senior research scientist at the Weston Observatory tells us this was a once-in-a-5-year event.
It's a reminder that we live in earthquake country. Not nearly as active as California, but we do have regular small earthquakes here.
Now experts say tremors from the quake are possible over the next few days, though not nearly as strong as the initial event.
The woman charged in the death of a Border Patrol agent in Vermont may be connected to even more crimes. Court documents show the guns recovered from the car Teresa Youngblood was in were purchased by someone else claiming to be from Orleans, Vermont. But the serial numbers connected to those guns to someone from Mount Tabor. So court documents show that individuals known to Youngblood and that this unnamed person is a person of interest in a double homicide investigation in Pennsylvania and another homicide in the California Bay Area.
Also today, the first woman Chief Justice of the Massachusetts Appeals Court will be ceremonially sworn in. Justice Amy Blake took her official oath on November 14th, but today Governor Maura Healey will administer the oath again in a ceremony this evening. Blake, who lives in Peabody, has been an appeals court justice since 2014. She started her judicial career in the family and probate court in 2008.
Well, the first of its kind project begins today in Cambridge. Officials with Eversource will break ground to begin construction of a new underground substation. It's part of the Greater Cambridge Energy Program. The substation design will be the first of its kind ever built. Eversource says once this substation is complete, it will provide power for heating throughout East Cambridge, reducing the need for natural gas heating.
Well, hoping to set sail this summer with the Steamship Authority? Well, then you're going to be able to book your ferry reservation for Nantucket starting later this morning. Get ready. You can book it on the Steamship Authority's website, on the phone, or at one of the ferry terminals. Now, bookings for Martha's Vineyard opens next month.
I hate to lose. And I hate for the Celtics to lose.
You and me both, my friend.
Heartbreak at the Garden.
This one was painful.
Yeah.
Last night's Celtics game against the Houston Rockets went down to the wire, but not in the C's favor. Look at this. Rockets forward Amen Thompson scored the game-winning bucket with just 0.7 seconds left. Oh, goodness. The Celtics fall 114-112. They are back at the Garden tomorrow night. They're going to host the Chicago Bulls.
And while it wasn't a great night for the team on the court, it was a special night for the extended Celtics family. The team honored the life of their former vice president of public relations, a beloved figure
No doubt.
in this area, Heather Walker. During the Move For Heather night, players wore special shooting shirts during warm-ups. Walker was just 52 years old when she passed away from a rare form of brain cancer back in 2023. Heather's mission was to raise money and awareness for brain cancer research, and some of the proceeds from last night's game will go to the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation.
Well, this man you see right here, Jeff Lurie, is having a good year. Oh, the Eagles owner is heading to the Super Bowl, and he's thinking about bringing that championship energy here to Boston. The Ringer reports that he is looking to buy the Celtics.
What?
Now, he's no stranger to the hub. Lurie grew up in Boston. Boston Basketball Partners announced they plan to sell the franchise after the Celtics won their 18th NBA title last year. The price to buy the C's estimated to be between $5 and $6 billion. Well, one of Martha's Vineyard's most iconic homes is for sale as well.
Well, the gingerbread house can be all yours, everybody. The bite-sized 725 square foot home on Fisk Avenue on the market for nearly $800,000. The 3-bedroom, 1-bath home was built in 1871. It comes with all of the quaint furniture inside that you like. If you like it, it's eligible to be rented out for up to 6 weeks a year.
Oh, boy. Okay, so let's talk about the weather right now.
Let's
we have
do it.
Tevin Wooten standing by. Snow squalls. That's the words of the day, my friend.
Snow squalls, the word of the day, but the good news is most of those snow squalls tapering off. I don't think we should see those in and around Boston. In fact, the only thing that we have that's not so sweet coming down the pipeline here, temperatures that are getting even colder. By 1 in the afternoon, we're near freezing, and wind chill temperatures for the remainder of the evening likely in the teens to 20s. Early tomorrow morning, that will be our next round of snow. Everyone gets in on this through Metro West and Central Massachusetts, which thinks more so being a mix of rain and snow, we think, across Cape Cod. You'll note by this time tomorrow, most of that snow has already moved out. So let's look at totals here. Likely some 1 to 3 inches of snow along the Mass Pike and points towards the north, down towards the south. It's less than an inch of snow, pretty much generally in the forecast. Now, come Thursday, that's when the cold of the core of the cold air arrives. It's likely the coldest day of the 10-day forecast. It's warm, but also wet Friday, too, with high temperatures at about 45 degrees.
All right, thank you so much. Well, today's show's next here on NBC 10 Boston.
Let's take a live look inside this morning as a performance by Teddy Swims. Love that guy. And if you want more local news, stay with us. We are on NECN, streaming wherever you're watching. All right, prepare for the snow. We've got you taken care of on NBC10Boston.com as well. Have a great day, everyone.
Hi there. Good Tuesday morning. We're following breaking news overnight of the crackdown on illegal immigration.
New roundups now being carried out, including here in New York. It's January 28th. This is today. Hitting the streets. This morning, ICE agents making a new wave of arrests, including a sweeping operation in New York City. More than 1,000 people taken into custody in major cities in a matter of days. This morning, we go along for a rare inside look to see exactly who's being detained and what President Trump is now saying about the crackdown. On hold, the White House ordering a freeze on many federal loans and grants overnight. Straight ahead, what's behind the controversial move, what it means for a wide array of programs, and the potential impact on tens of millions of Americans. We're live in Washington. Wall Street rattled. A new Chinese startup sends stocks into a free fall. So, what makes the AI-driven DeepSeek app a potential game changer? And why are lawmakers and tech giants raising national security concerns? We have everything you need to know. New twist.
Hey, Blake. It is 2 in the morning.
The late-night apology just surfaced from Justin Baldoni to Blake Lively, adding to their legal battle as the former co-stars now prepare for trial. The very latest just ahead. Those stories plus Italian getaway Inside, the new push to move the iconic Mona Lisa from the Louvre in Paris to its original home. And hoops hysteria.
There's love for the tie.
Arizona sends it into overtime with that dramatic half-court buzzer beater before pulling off a stunning upset. The can't-miss highlights today, Tuesday, January 28th, 2025.
From NBC News, this is Today with Savannah Guthrie and Greg Melvin, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And a very good morning to you. Welcome to Today. Thanks so much for joining us on this Tuesday morning. Look at your Arizona Wildcats.
Oh my gosh, bear down.
Yes.
Wildcats make the highlight reel. How about that? All of Tucson celebrates right there. My alma mater. We'll have more on that. What a shot a little bit later. Busy morning. Let's start with this live look at the Louvre in Paris. It's in the news this morning. It is, of course, the home of the iconic Mona Lisa. But the question is, for how long? Coming up, we're going to have the latest on a sudden new push to return that masterpiece to Italy amid concerns that that legendary museum that you see right there needs a refresh.
Also this morning, we're watching the stock market very closely after that new Chinese-based AI startup spurred a historic sell-off just ahead. Why some are calling DeepSeek, that's what it's called, DeepSeek, why some are calling it a major wake-up call for the entire tech industry.
In the meantime, President Trump marked his first full week in office with a flurry of new executive actions last night. They target everything from the military to federal grants and loans, something that could impact your wallet in a major way.
And they come as the administration's crackdown on illegal immigration is only intensifying, with ICE agents making nearly 1,200 arrests in a single day. And that is where we're going to start this morning with NBC's Gabe Gutierrez. He is here in New York, where another operation was just carried out. Gabe, what can you tell us?
Hey there, Craig. Good morning. This is the iconic Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. It remains the city's primary intake shelter for migrants. And over the past 2.5 years, more than 230,000 of them have come to the city. And now the Trump administration is hoping to deter any others.
This morning, an escalating crackdown nationwide on illegal immigration. Federal officers on the move in major cities. Newly confirmed Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem in New York, watching this arrest just this morning.
How busy has this been over the past week?
Busier than we've seen in a while.
The number of daily arrests rising. A senior administration official telling NBC News ICE arrested nearly 1,200 undocumented immigrants in one day. Roughly half had criminal records, in addition to being in the country illegally.
If somebody is here illegally, whether or not they've committed, crimes, there is that possibility that they could be, arrested.
We saw one enforcement operation firsthand in Chicago.
We're now heading to the northwest part of the city. Yesterday, they couldn't find one particular 25-year-old from Mexico with a lengthy criminal history. But this morning, a surveillance team has just seen him at work, and that's where we're going.
Agents move in, arresting Christopher Lara from Mexico. ICE says he has a criminal record, including convictions for home invasion and aggravated battery.
This is the one that's coming in.
NBC News also getting rare access to an ICE processing center, where we found Lara arriving in handcuffs. He denies the charges against him, saying he deserves a second chance.
I went to school my whole life here, from preschool all the way to my senior year.
He says if he's deported back to Mexico, he'd leave behind a 5-year-old daughter.
He does have serious charges and convictions. So I understand he has a daughter, and that's unfortunate, but we still have a job to do, and we still have to follow the law.
Meanwhile, after a brief feud with Colombia over accepting deportees, President Trump now threatening tariffs for any country that gets in the way of his mass deportation effort.
We've made it clear to every country that they will be taking back our people that we're sending out, the criminals.
But for the families left behind, it is agonizing. This woman's father was just arrested. He's lived here many years, she says. It breaks my heart.
Meanwhile, some new developments at the U.S. southern border. These are some tense moments in Starr County, Texas. This is drone video released by the Texas Department of Public Safety. Authorities say that cartel members trying to escape Mexico fired on U.S. Border Patrol agents and were eventually taken into custody. Again, Craig, here in New York, there are new arrests happening just this morning.
As
Craig.
we speak. All right, Gabe Gutierrez for us just a few blocks from here. Gabe, thank you.
Also breaking overnight, a move by the Trump administration that's sparking some questions and some confusion as well. The White House has ordered a pause on nearly all federal grants, potentially putting trillions of dollars on hold. But what does that mean? NBC's chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander's got that part of the story. Peter, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. This pause ordered by the White House Budget Office applies to most, if not all, federal grants and loans. That's according to a new memo sent to agencies overnight, obtained by NBC News. That could be trillions of dollars on hold, the document notes, and likely tens of billions in payments that Americans receive. Already, this is sparking intense backlash from critics and confusion, with fears it could impact those most in need, who are now asking themselves when the cash flow will stop.
This morning, another sweeping action by President Trump as he remakes the federal government in his first full week in office.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Overnight, NBC News learning that the White House has ordered a freeze of federal aid starting at 5 p.m. today.
My administration has been moving with urgency and historic speed to reverse every single disaster of the Biden administration.
The new head of the government's budget office saying in an internal memo obtained by NBC News that the pause extends to, quote, all federal financial assistance and activities affected by President Trump's recent executive orders, including foreign aid, non-governmental organizations, DEI, woke gender ideology, and the Green New Deal. The memo says Social Security and Medicare will not be affected, and neither would payments directly from the government to individuals. But many Americans get federal funds on everything from loans to food aid to farm assistance indirectly, and it's unclear if those programs would be affected. The order says it's targeting the parts of the government that will be changed by President Trump's recent executive actions. That could include everything from some efforts to lower prescription drug costs to clean energy jobs and programs. Congressional Democrats overnight saying the president's actions, quote, put the financial security of our families, our national security, and the success of our country at risk. The Trump administration argues the government needs to align with, quote, the will of the American people as expressed through presidential priorities.
We got rid of the woke crap.
It's part of a series of recent actions from President Trump, including executive orders on the military yesterday, focused on rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion, and recognitions of transgender service members. And he said building an Iron Dome-style missile defense system around the country.
We protect other countries, but we don't protect ourselves.
Peter, back to this freezing of federal aid. Yeah. Does this move face potential legal hurdles?
I think it's certain that it'll be contested, but many budget experts say that the president is generally allowed to temporarily defer spending. Of course, Congress holds the power of the purse. The Senate's top Democrat, Chuck Schumer, he fired back. Fierce terms he used overnight, saying Congress approved these investments and they are not optional. He says they are the law. Savannah, it is certain to be among the questions that the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, who just arrived here, faces from reporters when she holds her first press briefing at the White House this afternoon. Savannah.
We'll get more details. All right, Peter, thank you.
A shooting at a grocery store in northern Indiana last night left 3 people dead, including the gunman. It happened in Elkhart. That's about 2 hours east of Chicago. Officials say the suspect opened fire in the store, killing 2 people. When police arrived at the scene, they confronted the shooter. 2 officers were wounded. The gunman fatally shot. The officers were taken to the hospital. Both are expected to be okay. Meanwhile, the identity of the suspect has not been released so far. Also, no word this morning on a possible motive.
Now to news from the tech world that has rocked Silicon Valley and Wall Street. A new AI app from China, apparently created at a fraction of the cost of other options, has suddenly become a top download. Its emergence has put U.S. companies on notice. It sent tech stocks plunging, even raised some national security concerns. NBC senior business correspondent Christine Roman's all over this one. Christine, good morning.
Good morning. This app called DeepSeek is making tidal waves in the tech industry. And this breakthrough raising serious questions about where the U.S. stands in the global AI race.
This morning, the AI arms race now affecting your wallet as a new technology from a small Chinese lab sends big U.S. companies reeling. DeepSeek, a Chinese company, released a virtual assistant fueled by artificial intelligence last week. It quickly climbed to the top of the Apple App Store, fueling a dramatic sell-off of AI stocks yesterday.
It is mind-blowing, and it is shaking this entire industry to its core.
President Trump saying companies should be on notice.
The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser-focused on competing to win.
DeepSeek says its models perform as well as AI's biggest companies and is much cheaper to make, saying it spent $5.6 million training its model compared to ChatGPT, which spent $78 million. And Google-created Gemini spent $191 million.
And some of the companies in China were coming up with a faster method of AI and much less expensive method. And that's good because you don't have to spend this much money.
Sam Altman, the OpenAI CEO, posting on X, calling the DeepSeek chatbot impressive, but responded last month to fears about AI.
Do you have any faith that the government or somebody is going to figure out how to avoid that?
I have faith that researchers will figure out how to avoid that.
DeepSeek says it collects users' keystrokes and stores information in Chinese servers. Lawmakers warning of security issues with Chinese apps.
They abuse the system. They steal our intellectual property. They're now trying to get a leg up on us on AI, as you see in the last day or so.
NBC News has reached out to DeepSeek for comment on data privacy and security concerns. We have not heard back from this company.
Boy, what a splash this made in the stock market. But why? I mean, no one seemed to see this coming.
It's the small amount of investment that the company says it made. And you look at the big investments that all these other American companies are making. It raises questions about whether maybe the AI craze in the U.S. might be overvalued. Maybe it's a little bit of a bubble. But this morning, a lot of the folks that I cover emailing me, texting, telling their clients, let's just take a beat here today and see how it shakes out.
I mean, beyond what Speaker Johnson just said there about the Chinese stealing our intellectual property and manipulating currency, they've been doing that for years. But now, I mean, a lot of folks have been raising concerns for some time about whether they're honest about their data and their figures. Is there anything to that?
There are plenty of people who question whether they really spent just $5.6 million and what kind of chips they're using, maybe chips that are on the export control ban, maybe they're using stuff, the technology they're not allowed to have. We just don't know. We haven't heard back from the company. We don't know. So a lot of questions on just, you know, where this company came from and how it got there.
This is one of those things that regular folks, we're like, we don't have to pay attention to this. But then it comes to the stock market. People have 401ks. They say a big drop. So if you do have money in the stock market or 401k or retirement fund, what are you supposed to make of all this?
Look, that was a big move in tech stocks yesterday, and the whole market was down. But some perspective, the S&P 500, which is likely what your stocks and your retirement are in, is still up 22% over 1 year. And if you had invested $1,000 in the NASDAQ 5 years ago, that value today is $2,100. So $1,000 5 years ago is worth $2,100 today. What you lost yesterday, $26. So that's perspective.
Perspective's
I
important.
like perspective. Okay, Christine, thank you.
Really quickly, you said something a second ago I want to follow up on. This chip that's on the banned export list could be, what is that?
We don't know. So there's some chips, there are new generation, like top-level chips that the U.S. makes that the Trump administration and the Biden administration have not allowed or don't want to be sold into China so that China can't overtake the U.S. in the AI race. So we'll be looking very carefully at where these chips came from and what they were.
Okay, Christine, thank you.
Some new video this morning may shed some light on what may have started that deadly Eaton fire in Altadena, California. The video was captured by a gas station surveillance camera. Take a look here. A law firm suing Southern California Edison claims that the video shows electrical arcs and sparking coming from a transmission tower. A few minutes later, the orange glow of flames appears in the distance. Southern California Edison says it's reviewing that video to assess any possible connection between the flashes and the company's equipment. Edison officials have said they do not believe their equipment started the fire.
All right, well, to college basketball now, and what has to be the shot of the year so far. Arizona down by 3 points to third-ranked Iowa State. 2.2 seconds left on the clock, and here's how it goes.
It's got to go down the court. 3-point game. Too far. Here's Love for the tie.
How about that. Caleb Love hitting the buzzer beater well beyond half court. Shot sent the game into overtime. I think he shot it from my mom's house. Arizona would go on to pull off the upset win 86-75. Caleb Love will not be buying any meals in Tucson for the rest of the season, rest of the year, rest of the decade, rest of his life.
It shouldn't.
I mean, it's incredible.
By the way, it looks like Arizona's having a decent season.
I know,
too.
love that.
What do they say? Bear down?
Bear down.
Bear down.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Roker standing by for that first check of the. Oh, we're looking at some snow.
Yeah, we got some snow bearing down on the Great Lakes. We got winter weather advisories, snow squall warnings for parts of New York State, Pennsylvania. You can see these snow squalls coming downwind of the eastern Great Lakes. We could be looking at about a foot of snow in that area we always call the Tug Hill Plateau between Syracuse and Watertown, heading towards Saratoga Springs as well. Now, we've got that storm system that brought rain to California over the weekend. Well, now it's redeveloping near Texas. Widespread heavy rain will intensify. We've got a severe risk of storms tomorrow from Sherman down to Kerrville, including Dallas, Waco as well. Damaging hail is part of this, a flash flood risk as well, and those high rainfall rates at night. Now we move into Thursday. That heavy band of rain moves into the Mississippi River Valley. More severe storms are expected in the afternoon from Dallas to Houston, but Alexandria, parts of central Louisiana have more of a severe risk and a few tornadoes possible, and flooding because from Greenville, Little Rock, Memphis up to Paducah, we could be looking at 1 to 3 inches of rain, and then that moves into the northeast on Friday with wet weather along the I-95 corridor. But from Detroit to Syracuse all the way to Bangor, we may be looking at a decent amount of snow. Rainfall, though, that's what we're going to be really looking at over the next 48 hours. From Dallas to Memphis, we could be looking at 3 inches of rain. Anywhere, though, generally about 1 to 2 inches. We're going to get to your local forecast coming up in the next 30 seconds.
Hello, America. Stocking up for the big game? Look at your Instacart app. Now back to me. What's at the door?
Well, hot dog.
The Instacart app is now overflowing with deals on those snacks that you love. Play the music.
Hey, you want to party? Yeah! Look, I'm dancing.
We're in a commercial.
A dancing commercial. With a horse.
For some across northern Vermont, I'm First Alert meteorologist Tevin Wooten. As those snow showers are tapering off, the clouds are breaking apart, and temperatures are actually cooling down. At the warmest point throughout the day, we're at about 36. But even this afternoon and evening, that cold air starts to settle in, and it will usher in another round of snow. That's more widespread, we think, tonight and early Wednesday morning. Here's a closer check at that 10-day forecast. Frigid air is behind our snow on Thursday, with highs only in the upper 20s.
Guys,
thanks, buddy.
Savannah's enjoying our tie talk.
These two, it's just fashion, fashion, fashion.
Well, he's got a
I like
very
your
nice new pink and white striped
Oh, and
shirt.
is that a new shirt?
Well, no,
How's your tattoo going?
Oh, it's
still there.
Yes, I knew that train's coming.
Yeah, here we go.
You want me to turn around?
Yeah,
Can
there
they?
it is. Looks good.